Well, hello. Take a little ride on my scooter. Be allowed to go to the end, but they blocked that because they didn't want people going up there.
And you're watching RV Weekends on YouTube.
And I'm heading out on a scooter adventure to go ride some of the back roads. So there's a little path up here. I want to walk it. I think I'm only about 15 miles from Key West, so I think I'll ride through Key West. Alright, here I am at the edge of US 1, and I made it to the destination.
Hi, this is Tricky Brandy, and you're watching RV Weekends on YouTube, and we are live right here at London, UK. Peace out, yo.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to my last installment of my trip to the Florida Keys 2025. And yeah, we're gonna pick up for our last day. And what I did is I woke up early with my sister and we went out lobster fishing. That's right. That's why we come here too, is to catch lobsters. And we caught some lobsters and it was quite fun. Yahoo! Look at us! Yeah, my sister caught the big one on the left. She said I swam right by it and missed it. But we got some lobsters. It was so much fun. Yeah, so after that, I decided to do a little bit of exploring around the island of Bahia Honda here in the state park. So let's go. Hello, hello. It's Friday and getting close to the end of my Keys trip. Had a good time. The weather came in the other night and stayed for a whole day. So that was kind of a wash. But it's been great. Besides that weather, it's a little bit more windy. A little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit windy. But look at this view. This is a primitive campsite here. All they give you is water. No electricity. I'm fighting mosquitoes, so can't stay long. But yeah, they give you electricity. They don't give you any electricity, just water. And there's toilets here to use. But this is a primitive site. They get plenty of these sites available because they're not very popular because you don't have electricity. Anyway, just showing you the site. Take a little ride on my scooter. There's the cabins. My sister got one of those cabins. It was basically a $2,000 for 2 weeks, so it was $160-something a day. I'm not interested in that. It's pretty nice. I like it. It's nice. But I don't need it. I got an RV. So, and my nephew's over there fishing at that dock over here. I'll zoom in. All right, as you can see, it's a little bit cloudy today after those storms come through. But look, people are still out there enjoying the water. I mean, they came so far to enjoy Bahia Honda. So they're out in the water. The water temps are great. It's warm summertime. So it's great to be out in the water. And because the sun's not out, it doesn't look as blue and clear, but it is. It's just not sunny. So here's another side of the beach, Calusa Beach, next to the old historic bridge. Such a scenic place to swim. And it's got a rope out there to keep boats from coming in and keep you safe. So that's really cool. Now we're going next to Calusa Beach toward the bridge. So I wanted to do some more exploring. And when you walk over here, there's a building that used to be open for exploring the local information. But after the hurricane about 5 years ago, it was damaged. So they haven't fixed it yet. But you can donate money to the cause by giving money. They'll put your name on a brick on the ground. And guess what? My family did that. We're have our name. There's my family name from Titusville, Florida. Yeah, so hopefully that'll be there for a long time for others to see. And my family has been coming here since before I was born in 1965. So I have pictures of my mom holding me here at Bahia Honda. So we really love this park. So you can donate and help out the state park refurbish their damaged building and keep maintenance going at this beautiful location. And now we're going to walk toward the historic bridge. And on the way, there's great views. That's back toward the campground, and that's the bridge that you drive on to get out here and go keep going to Key West. And here we're getting closer to the old historic bridge that Henry Flagler built. And here is Bahia Honda Bay. This is the deepest bay in the Florida Keys, so that's what the name means. Bahia Honda means deep bay. So this was a very difficult area to try to build the bridge because it was so deep, and then the currents come through here so rapidly that they could only do construction when the water wasn't moving. And that was only during slack tide, in between high tide and low tide. So they only got to work about 45 minutes, and then they had to stop and wait for the water to go by another 6-8 hours or whatever it was, and then they could wait for the tide to stop again and work. So it wasn't easy to do. So this is a very historic area. So some cool information is throughout the park so we can see the history of how Bahia Honda has evolved. By the early 20th century, Henry Morse Flagler had already achieved great wealth by financing the development of Florida's wild and remote East Coast. His dream was to connect the isolated city of Key West to the mainland of Florida. The overseas railway would span 126 miles over open water, using the islands of the Florida Keys as stepping stones. The Bahia Honda Bridge was built between 1909 and 1912. Can you imagine just what it would be like building the railway over the open sea? Thousands of workers signed on for the promise of housing, 3 meals, and $1.25 a day. Work was an epic struggle of man against natural obstacles. Daily conditions like the heat, mosquitoes would prove unbearable for some. Hurricanes were fatal. It was the workers who brought Henry Flagler's vision to life. They laid the foundation for the permanent structure which today carries the overseas highway across the Florida Keys. In the end, the overseas railway was literally blown off the map. The Labor Day hurricane of 1935 destroyed 40 miles of the track in the Upper Keys, and the Florida East Coast Railroad, already approaching bankruptcy, couldn't afford to rebuild. The state of Florida purchased what remained of the old railroad beds and bridges, using them as the foundation for the overseas highway. The true cost of the Labor Day hurricane was far worse than missing tracks. Over 250 World War I veterans employed under the New Deal Act to build the budding highway lost their lives during the storm when this rescue train arrived too late to save them. The hurricane remains one of the strongest ever recorded. The railroad bridge was extremely narrow. Before passing through the truss bridge, the train conductor would announce, "Keep your head and arms inside the car." Later, the highway had to be built on top of the trusses because the interior width would not allow 2 lanes of traffic. But this space below was used to house the water line that ran from mainland Florida to Key West. Can you spot the remains of this pipe? Yeah, you can. Let me show it to you. As you walk up to the undercarriage area where the train tracks were, this used to be open. You could just walk on it. There was no fence there to keep you from going there. And if you look right there, it's the pipe they were talking about, the fresh water line that came from Florida and went all the way to Key West. Yeah, when I was a kid, this fence was not there. And we used to climb on the bridge, believe it or not. See where those X beams are, with the little X's and crosses, whatever. We climb that up that all the way to the top and jump off into the water, all the way down into the water. Can you believe it? Yep, we were crazy. Like I said, we climb up that all the way to the top. I remember touching the underside of the road and jumping off into the water. And another thing we did is we walked on this water pipe. This is a fresh water pipe that take water to Key West, and we walked on that water pipe all the way to the other side. Not kidding. Yep, all the way to the other side. 5,055 feet. Crazy kids, right? There was a cable actually that was attached above it, so you could hold onto the cable as you walked. I don't know where it was attached. I just remember it being there, and it could help you walk. And then we climbed off on the other side and got on top and walked all the way back on top. Not kidding. Me, my little sister, and my little brother did it. And there's an island pretty close by over there. Not really close enough to swim to, but you kayak there. We've kayaked there before. I think I swam to it before, but with fins. But you can see the current coming through here. As you can see, this is a very interesting place to be with a lot of historic information here. And look here, from 1936, it's a survey marker. All right, let's continue on with our information about this new highway from 1938 to 1972. As personal vehicles began to replace railroads, access to the Florida Keys had to change. The railroad bridge was transformed in 1938 to become part of the overseas highway. The railroad structure was too narrow for 2 lanes of traffic, so the new highway had to be built on top of the truss spans. The highway bridge was known for its unique design, exciting ride, and breathtaking view. The Old Bridge Trail follows the path that was once the highway. And like I said before, the Spanish word Bahia Honda means deep bay, pronounced Bahia Honda. And Bahia Honda became a state park in 1961. This is the road, the path that the train used to go on. And then after the train tracks were destroyed by the hurricane, the Labor Day hurricane, they sold the property and then they built the road. So this used to be a road also after the train was removed. So we're gonna go to the top of the bridge so we can get a cool breeze. A little bit warm, not as warm as it could be. The sun came out. I don't think these guys are native from here, but there's lots of them. And check this out. This little banner says construction of the overseas highway had already begun during the railroad era. However, automobiles still had to use the ferry service to cross some areas. In 1935, Chevrolet released a newsreel advertising that there is no need to wait for the finished highway if you have a car with knee action. They claimed that there was plenty of time between trains to drive down the tracks. Would you have dared to try it? Although the bridge was originally designed as merely a conduit to Key West, the islands of Bahia Honda became a beloved destination. In the 1970s, many government officials, preservationists, and individuals expressed their interest in the historic importance of the old Bahia Honda Bridge. Upkeep was costly and integrity of the bridge continued to decline. In 1979, the bridge was listed on the National Historic Registry, preserving its place as a cultural icon and preventing its demolition. In 1984, 2 of the truss spans were removed, one at each end. The bridge was in disrepair and safety barricades could not keep curious onlookers out. The removal also facilitated boat traffic. The Florida Park Service had the segment over the land and 2 segments over the water restored to preserve this iconic piece of the Florida Keys history. It's been 40 years since those refurbishments have been made, and the two sections over the water have been corroding and declared unsafe for pedestrian traffic. The Florida Park Service has consulted with other agencies regarding the restoration or replacement of the old Bahia Honda overlooked sections. These plans are still pending. After the Labor Day hurricane wiped out the train tracks, the road was built in its place, and here the Overseas Highways was completed in 1938, and the Bahia Honda Bridge was the highest point in the whole Florida Keys due to its unique design. Engineers transformed the railroad truss by building a highway on top of it. Beams extended off each side to add width. Those who drove over say it was a harrowing ride, even with the added room. Large vehicles had to remove or fold their side mirrors in to avoid shearing them off when passing oncoming traffic. All right, made it up to the top of the bridge. It's not a sunny day today, so it's not as pretty. And there's the campground area. Yeah, used to be allowed to go to the end, but they shut it down because it's getting rusty underneath. And like I said, they used to be able to go all the way across. And they blocked that because they didn't want people going up there. So, and people out there trying to catch some lobsters. It's lobster season now. Tide is going out to the ocean. It's a good place to look at the stars at night because there's not a lot of light pollution here. We would come out here and lay our blankets on the concrete on the bridge and stare up at the stars, watching meteors, satellites fly by, the Milky Way. Really cool. All right, guys, that's the end of my Florida Keys trip. Almost. I'm leaving right now. It's 6:30 in the morning, and hopefully I don't have any more tire issues on the way home. Definitely gonna, keep it under 60. So the first hour and a half is pretty slow. Nothing usually over 55, and getting through Miami is one of the first hurdles. So I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload my newest video. Do me a favor and share this video with a friend, as it'll help my channel grow. Thank you so much for watching RV Weekends, and we'll see you on the next adventure.